Hello, everybody. So we're live. My name is Zach Soares. I'm a voxel artist and animator. I primarily animate voxel art, and I'm currently a creative director at a studio, at my studio called Bunnyhug Games. And yeah, today I'll be talking about how to do some frame-based voxel animation for your character. It's gonna be pretty simple. I'm not gonna do like a super complex character, mostly because I want to show basically the ins and outs of like just doing frame animation stuff. So it should be pretty good. It should be pretty clean and simple. There's only two softwares that you're gonna have to worry about, which are to use a tool called Cubicle, which is what I use, and Unity for the animation and rendering part. Either way, let's get into this. The way it's going to flow is I'm going to be showing you the whole process, and then once that's done, I'll do a Q&A afterwards, so you can ask me questions then, and I'll be answering questions that have been asked in advance. So let's just get right to it. Hello, you can see me now. So what we have here is Cubicle. I already decided what I am going to do. What I'll be doing is making a person that transforms into a werewolf, just the head. I'm going to focus mainly on the head. Because if I did the whole body, it would get really complex, and I think it would take more than the hour that I'm allotted to do this. So let's start simple and small. First things first, you're going to want to shape out is the head. I'm going to go with a longer, like more rectangular shaped head rather than square, mainly because the nose is going to be the important part on the wolf itself. So if the character is thinner, you can have like a long front, which is going to be nice. And with Cubicle, like you generate your cube, and then you're gonna want to cut it out and get a nice rectangular shape. You can I have my shortcut for Q, but you can use the rectangular select tool for any cutouts on small blocks. It's pretty easy, pretty clean. Then use the rectangle tool to get. Wait, just 1 second to get chat open here. So I do not see chat. But yeah, anyways, let's just so we're gonna do the nose, and this is gonna be like the focus of the character here. The whole point is going to be on their nose, because this is gonna transform into a snout, and we're gonna actually place it quite low, and then we're gonna give them ears that are probably gonna be like up here, like that, and we're gonna mirror this. Oh, wrong direction. What direction am I facing? Oh, I'm facing to the right. That's why. So, yeah, so there you have this cube here that helps you see what direction you're facing in. It's always good to face forward. That's how I do it all. And that way the mirroring, when you mirror on X, it's going to be like side to side, which is always handy. But yeah, so we're going to do this. Then we're going to have the chin stick out here, and we're going to give ourselves a neck. Like I said, we're not going to do a whole character, just the head. But I want to give it a bit of a neck. That way we could probably add a little bit more like of a look on this character when they transform into a wolf. And the stages, we're going to do the frame animation stuff. But so the stages you want to do is you want to start off by making that first head to figure out what you're going to be working with, like what sizes and dimensions you want to work with. And then from this, you're going to want to slowly move. You're going to want to move to the back, the end points. You're going to model the first frame and then the last frame. The first frame being the human, and the last frame being the werewolf. So we're going to make this werewolf. But one thing I also wanted to add was that when I'm going to be animating this character, I'm not only going to be animating the character, but a kind of an object in the background to kind of signal the transformation, which is the moon. So even before I continue with this character, I have like the base shape of them. Hey, buddy. My dog just walked in. And yeah, I'll be making the moon. So let's just actually make the moon in the scene here. Again, there's the create box that creates that main box, and then you have the moon. We're gonna make it doesn't have to be this big. We can make the moon smaller. So you Control A to select all the cubes, and that like highlights. And I like to do the inverse instead of adding a remove. So I'm going to deselect all of that to make a smaller moon. Make it more of a disk, and you'll see why. Just think it's neater as a disk than it would be like a sphere, which in my case would be a cube. I see all cubes as spheres. Perfect. Okay, let me just, I'm getting a reference. Okay, so I got this reference. So the moon, I'm gonna go with the yellow. So we're gonna do the bucket tool and we're gonna select our colors. I'm gonna go with something, and I'm gonna go pretty quick, mostly because we don't have much time. But this should be pretty simple. I think the animation part's gonna be much easier than you think. Don't get too intimidated by it. Really, you should just be focusing first on the modeling itself. So we're gonna go with a lighter yellow, and then something closer to a gray, like sliding into the grays in the middle to do the moon pattern. I'm gonna use the rectangle tool just to paint in so it doesn't go through. So just painting on the surface here. And I'm gonna hit X to change to a different color, do a brighter spot for like the base of the moon, which would be like down here. Like the reference I have shows that the moon has almost like a belly button of its own down here. Then the shape kind of like spots out like this. And then you got some little brighter spots like this. I'm gonna wrap that around the side. Perfect. And then another little dot up there. Perfect. There you go. So we got ourselves a very quick makeshift moon. Is that right, though? Let's see. We just got a spot there and a spot there. There we go. So we got ourselves our moon. And we're going to name it moon. And now we're going to go back to our character. So the character... boy. Okay, so we're going to have to do the hair for the character. And there's various ways I do hair, but the main way I do it is going to be just selecting a default color. I'm not worrying too much about the colors yet. What I'm worrying more so is about the hair. So I'm gonna do their eyebrows, which in this case actually might, yeah, I'm gonna do very thick eyebrows. So this person's a werewolf, so I'm gonna assume by default they're very hairy, which gives us the opportunity to do more of the frame animation stuff. I think you're gonna love it. So we're gonna make them very hairy, and we're gonna mirror that. Gonna get rid of that there. So the eyebrows are wider out, and we're gonna give them a nice head of hair. So we're gonna give them a mullet, mind you. I think a mullet would be really fun. Almost like, because like the idea is that like animals have a lot. They have a lot of hair. This person would be very hairy. So I think a mullet is like extremely gives the vibes of I've got a lot of hair, and so much hair I don't know what to do with it. So I'm gonna have this really not exactly the most attractive haircut. So we're gonna press 5 to expand that space further. Okay, good. Good. There we go. And now we're going to bring that forward here. Like that. Holding shift, that rectangle tool, if you just don't press anything, it paints it. But if you hold shift, it makes it have a like an extrusion, like you can add an extra layer of cubes on top. That's really handy. I'm gonna go like this. And I'm gonna select again. Select here, but then deselect other parts. Make that like that. Good. And I'm gonna give him a beard. And the hair is going to come up side of the eyebrows, up to like where the ear is, and it's gonna come all the way up to the side. This way, I feel like I might be making the character head a little bit too big. It's gonna give me a lot of work, so I'm gonna lower the size of the jaw. There we go. And the forehead's fine, mind you. So I think we're good there. I'm gonna start coloring the head. Now, the skin color I go with, I don't really go with like a skin color. I tend to go closer into like a tan, more in the oranges. That's because it gives the character more life. They feel more alive, like they're healthy. If they're too pale, then you're kind of, I don't know, if the person's not in the light. If they're a werewolf, they're probably going to be out in the sun often. And do I want to give them eyes? That's the right question. That's the question here. Let me see. I'm going to do eyes. Some white eyes. Probably wider out, right? Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't done like a face like this in a while. Like they're very thin eyes, but I like it. So we're gonna go with the nose. And the reason why I'm making a different color nose in this case is that the character is gonna stand out. Like their nose is gonna stand out. Like that's gonna change severely. You're gonna see it extend out, turn into a muzzle at the end, which is really gonna make all of the expression. So we're gonna turn on active mirroring, should make it faster for us to do this beard. Or if it's just like chops. Like this. I'm gonna give him a little goatee. Perfect. And you know what? For the hair at the top here, I'm gonna give it like a thicker element like that. How does that look? No, I don't like that top piece. So we're gonna undo it. Control C. And now for the hair, we're gonna for the head, I'm gonna add some shading to the character. So we're gonna take that default color that I made, lean into the red, and then add this as like tinting on the face. We're gonna do it for the eyes, like the bags, and then on the ears. Can't really see much, so it might not even be worth doing. But yeah, we're not gonna bother with the ears. The eyes are good. No mouth. I'm not gonna make a mouth. I feel like if I do, it's gonna make it harder for me to kind of show the stretching of the mouth. Gonna give him more wrinkles though. Tired man. And probably the last thing I want to do with his coloring on his skin is I want to tint a good part of it, probably the lower part, yeah, lower part here, to a little bit darker. So we're going to deselect all of that. Should get her up there. Yeah, and then we're going to go into the hue and saturation and play around with the numbers and see what we get. I'm going to do 5 saturation. Actually, no, probably a hue of -5. Nope. -1. Luminance of -5. Too strong. Sky -2. Saturation of -5. I always go -5. Increments of 5 seem to be pretty okay. -3. Hue of 0. Or let's go a hue of 2. No. I think a hue of 0 might be fine. It looks like he's smiling, mind you. So I'm going to actually take the regular skin color and expand that out to just there. Perfect. All right, cool. So lastly, I'm going to do the actual color of the hair because I don't like this. It's not a color I've ever used, to be honest. Let's go with something more into blues. Be nice to have like a bluish color. Yeah, that's good because you know what we can do is the fur of the wolf can be more into blues, which is a nice color rather than going with a black or brown fur, which is pretty typical. We can go with something more blue. All right. Now the last thing I want to do is the shading on the hair. So the back here is going to be, I'm going to pick a color. Perfect. And we're going to turn on the masking so that whatever we buck tool here, what was selected will stay. And now we're going to do some more detailing by mirroring and editing. So again, like we're still stuck on this first character head, but that's fine. Once we have this figured out, I think we're gonna have an easier time doing the rest. What these little swirls I'm doing is just kind of to guide the hair to make it show that there's movement with the hair. And I'm going to do at the base of the hair here, darker tone. With the eyebrows back there, we're going to make that darker. Perfect. A little too much. And then I'm going to make the tips a little lighter. Maybe too much in the greens. There we go. Perfect. So now we're not going to mirror that because the highlights are going to be asymmetrical. Perfect. All right, cool. Now we're going to do the wolf. Let me just make that neck color. Because I think once we have this, let me just go with a darker skin for the neck. Perfect. Do 4, 3, perfect. And we're going to make the, like, person like this here, regular skin. So there we go. Not tinted that way. Oh, I just realized I already had a darker skin color. That's shading. Perfect. Okay, so now we have 2 of the assets done, which is nice. And we're going to move on to doing the wolf part. So we're going to select all, move that aside, and make the wolf. We could actually take it from the character's base shape, like the rectangle of their head. So I'm going to delete all of the hair that I've applied. Let's turn off contiguous so that it selects every color the same. And we're going to kind of stretch this out. We're going to take this head that we built and we're going to stretch it out so that we can make our wolf. Now, I'll be honest, this is the first time I do this, so I like giving myself challenges and risks when I'm doing things. Pretty much everything I do is a challenge. And let's bring this forward. So the wolf, I've done wolves before, but not like this. Let's take this wolf. We're going to select the front where the nose is. We're actually going to lower the nose. So let's take it. So we're going to take the regular shape of a wolf, which will be forehead here will be sprut down in the front. The mouth here is going to be the larger part. So I'm going to bring that forward like this. And we got ourselves already stuck. Oh boy. This is unnecessary now. We don't need that anymore. We just needed that as a framing for where the nose would be. And we're going to cut the jaw a little in the front so that, yes, let's do, just trying to figure out. Yeah, so this part here should be where the nose is. We're going to get rid of the eyes and make them different. Instead of, so this split is that human eyes are always horizontal, vertical, and animal eyes are always horizontal. So what we're going to do with the wolf now is we're going to make the eyes horizontal like this. Okay, now the ears, obviously ears are not going to go right on the side of the head. They're going to go at the top of the head. So we're going to shrink that forehead piece that I have mentioned. And this is now going to turn into ears. You can almost take the exact same piece that you made before and turn that into ears. These ones are pretty small right now. So I'm going to go like this. And I'm going to step once more and do increments of 3. This should give you all the space you need to make wolf ears. I'm going to mirror that. It's kind of scary right now that this is in human skin. So I'm going to quickly move to not making that human skin. I'm going to move the ears back. My feeling is that that's not. There you go. That seems better. To make that thicker. Perfect. And the tips of the ears obviously are going to be thinner than the base of the ears, and that's going to drop by 2. So the tips are going to be 2 by, in this case, 2 by 3, and the rest is going to be, 4 by 4. So let's make it 4 by 3. So let's bring this a little bit forward. There we go. So now we're going to start doing the wolf. So wolves, they all have their nose is at the very front of the muzzle here. So like what we did with we're gonna have the nose here. And this time we're gonna have a mouth. So the mouth is gonna be like this. that line to split up the jaw and the nose is going to be the mouth. All right, perfect. And we can actually have the teeth stick out. So instead of just texturing teeth on, we're actually going to have the teeth stick out like this. And I'm actually going to bring it to the very front, like that and like that. So now we have teeth. That should be scary enough. We can actually close this up if we want to. No, we'll keep that line there. Okay, so we still haven't done any of the fur or the coloring of the wolf. I'm going to drop that a little bit lower. Perfect. Okay. And now we're going to take that neck piece, and even this is going to thicken up. We're going to make that wider. To duplicate, by the way, you can just hold Control and then just grab the object and drag it, and that's going to duplicate the object. And you can also mirror the extension of this. So we're going to expand that. Perfect. Okay. And that should be thicker. It should be thicker by one more. There we go. That should do it. Perfect. And now we're going to do the coloring. So we're going to take the same blue, and that's going to be the fur of the wolf as a whole. But to kind of show hair existing on this, the actual fur, like the base color of the wolf, is going to be darker than the fur that we've selected. We'll actually make the darker shade that we have here. Oops. G for bucket tool. I'm going to go like this. Okay, good. And now the fur, which is going to be pretty much like hair. Maybe like this. He's not going to have the same mullet, mostly because that mullet was more to could be like the sign that your character is a werewolf. It's that excessive hair, and now it's on the body, so there's no reason for it to be on the wolf character itself. You can make them have a mullet if you want, but I choose not to. Let's go like this. Make that stick out by one. That. Perfect. Thinking this is a little bit too dark, so we're going to actually have a second tone of blue for the highlight. Let's see. Yeah, this should help. So we can see the nose better, because the nose is going to be black. Not pure black. You never want to go pure black. And then we're going to have like highlights on the face. Like so. Perfect. So now we're going to mirror this. Save ourselves some time. Perfect. Okay, good. So this is a good start. We're almost there. I'm going to do the darker blue again. I'm going to stick like this. I'm going to make that there. And we're gonna do a bit of texturing on the chest here, so that the fur, well, more or less, it pretty much looks like the wolf has small chest fur, as a wolf would. I'm speaking as though I know everything about wolves, because you have to as an artist. You got to assume that you know everything about the thing you're modeling, so that when you're modeling it, you're confident about it. And we're going to actually cut off the edges here. I feel like it's a really thick neck, which is the intention. It's off by one. Keep mistaking that. There we go. There we go. That's better. Okay, so now we got the heads, and we're going to pass this all into Unity. We're going to do the base animation, the transition, and the animation of the moon. We can actually make a second moon real quick, and this is going to be the stretch moon. So when you're doing frame animation, it's always good. Like, you can do it all in tweening with Unity. So this is like when you grab an object and you squeeze it and pull it. But what you're going to want to do mainly is let's stretch this out. That. And smear it just a little bit. Like smear that, smear this. Like what we have here, this. This way, what we can have the moon. So we're gonna export these as different objects. This is like the big step when you're doing the frame animation now. So with the wolf, we compounded it, and we're gonna call this wolf_1. And for the character, we also compounded that, and we're gonna call this human_1. The reason _1 is important because you're going to want to, that's how you identify your frames. And then you have the moon, which they've already been named. So we have, this is moon 2. The stretchy one is going to be moon 2. The non-stretchy one is going to be moon 1. I'm going to put this together. And we're going to bring all of this in the middle of the scene. Okay. And we're going to center that there. And for them, it's not less important. So now we're going to export these separately. So the moon is going to be its own thing altogether. We're going to export that. And it's important why we have to separate them. Let me just get that exported to the right location. So we're going to move to Unity in a second. Sorry about this. The export, like finding the right folder location is always a bit of a slowdown. Oh, I got ample time still. There we go. Okay, so found the location. Moon, exported. Now that's the wolf, so we're gonna export the wolf now. Exported. And the human. Exported. Okay, so now we're going to go into Unity. And we have all of our stuff. We're going to have our textures that you want to select them all, change that to point filtering, and override your texture to 32-bit. Sorry, I got to be quick on this. Again, I have only 30 minutes left now. And then you want to change the material to a mobile diffuse. So now we're going to bring all of these objects into the scene like this. Let's zoom in. Oh, I already put in the human. Okay, well, that's fine. It's a good start. So let's put this human in the scene. I'll have to make it like 200, bigger than that. A little less than that. Perfect. Okay. So we're going to bring that shoe up like this. Put that into scene like that. Now I'm going to take the moon. Also at 500. They all need to be the same size. And the moon, I'm going to have it. You know what? Because of the camera angle, I'm going to make the human face the camera. More like this. I'm going to scale you up. That. And rotate a little bit. Now the moon also needs to be the same rotation. So we're going to actually copy the components that paste that onto the moon. And we're going to put it way back here. And we're actually going to create an animation of this, which will be, so at the bottom here I have this animation window, and this is where we're going to do all of our frame animation. You want to, when you select an object, this is why it's going to be important. With the moon, I had multiple objects of a moon, and I exported that as one. So that's how you make sure that you're going to retain all of the frames of animation per kind of animated object. In this case, the moon, the human, and the werewolf. They're all individual pieces. Mind you, the wearable and the human can be one. We're going to get to that later. And so once you've done that, you can do create into the animation section, find your location, and we're going to call this moon anim for animation. And you want to add property, and you're going to add the texture, the object. So moon underscore one object and moon underscore two object. So now when this animates, I'm going to turn off the one, and it's going to be this one here. So now you actually see like this information is updating as I move it around. That's because this is animating. This is how you do some tween animation. And this is also where you're going to be doing the frame animation. So we're going to start the object way down, out of frame. And I'm going to move it, say a few seconds in, to come up here, and then change when it arrives into the other moon. So now when this plays back, it should stick and stay. And I'm actually going to take this exact frame, copy it, put it at the end here. So we got these little keys, these little diamond shapes. You can copy those and paste them along the timeline so you know. All right, so that comes up like that. Change it into, it's a very rough animation right now. What I would do is actually, as it comes up, stretch it out. So R for scaling, and you want to stretch that out, make it thinner than it really is. So it's going to come stretched, and then when it hits here, squeeze it. Actually, squeeze it only vertically into its position. So it's going to whoop, squeeze, and then boop. Here's when it's going to be its full scale of its 500. It's not, sorry, 1 by 1. What is the actual scale of this? Oh my god. How did I forget? It's going to come like this, and then boop. So we're actually going to just, I'll figure it out by hand. There we go. And it stays like this. So now it's going to whoop, and then. So like it's going to come up, turn into the moon's going to arrive, and what we're going to actually do is change the lighting in the scene. So actually, I made a mistake in exporting the human and the wolf at the same time together. So I'm actually going to go and export them individually. I made a mistake of exporting them separately when they should actually be exported together, because we're going to be doing the frame swapping on the wolf, on the werewolf itself. The human it turns into werewolf. So I'm just going to, there you go, export that. It's fine. Human model, I'm just going to reposition you to there. Perfect. What I'll do is, and I'll get rid of the wolf object, that's unnecessary. Because again, the human is the first frame, the wolf is the last frame. So we're going to now do an animation for the wolf. Transform. And same as with the moon, we activate the human model and we activate the wolf model. And we start off with the human model is what is active from the start. And we're going to look at the moon to see what the length of that is, 55 frames, and it changes on the 20th frame. So what we're going to do is on the 20th frame, you're going to hit the record button. Don't forget, hit that record button. And this is when you deselect the human, reselect the wolf. So it's like boop, turns into a wolf. And then on the last frame, we're going to delete that. It needs to be the same length as the moon, in this case 55. So we're going to go human here, record. On frame 55, and it's going to be the same here. Boom. So now they should be synced up. Now if I were to play this back, it's going to be very quick if I'm not mistaken. Pretty quick. So if I were to play this back, let me play it as if it's playing a game in Unity. Please don't take too long. Penny minute now. So Unity takes a bit to do the processing when you first want to launch what you've made. But basically, we're gonna set up our animations like this. This is exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna now go back to Cubicle, model the in-between frames where I'm gonna try to, as quickly as possible, do smear frames of the character. So I'm gonna have the character lean down, go up like this, so it's gonna turn into a wolf. So we'll have like the stretching of the skin, and it's a little freaky, a little bit freaky, but that's the idea, is that we're gonna do that middle frame, so when it's halfway through the transformation, and then we're gonna do in between that. So like you start off with the two, then you make that middle, then you make the in between the first and middle, in between the middle and last, and you can keep adding to those layers, but I think those few is fine. So it's pretty fast. The playback is pretty fast. Now what I'm gonna do actually, I'm gonna open up a tool called Timeline, which is like the animation tool, except it allows me, like that, it allows me to do, oh boy, to combine all of my animations together in a single scene, so I don't have to like time everything specifically, and I can make it all work nicely. There we go. So in this scene, what we're going to do is we're going to take the moon. Yeah, horrible. We're going to take the moon, animation track, human, animation track. I'm going to take the animations that we made for both of these, drop them in, and same with the werewolf, drop that in. So now, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, see, now I can actually see how this plays back. And I'm also going to make animation track for the camera. And the reason why I want to do it for the camera is so I can change the time of day. So now what I'll do, if you hit so this is like the big difference. You can actually add animations in. I can stretch these out if I wanted to. I'm going to play them at half speed. So now you got half the speed here playing back. So this is how it's going to play back in Unity. So now we can see exactly how it's going to play back, which is, I think it's good. Half speed we can actually work with. So at this point here, I'm going to have the lighting, the background color here, this blue, change. And because I'm holding the record for the camera, I can change values on the camera here, and it's going to actually change in real time. So I'm going to go like a, oh boy, it's going to be hard to choose a darker color without making the wolf hard to see. Maybe a purple, like this. There we go. Oh, does it not? Where's the very first frame? Thank you. Very first frame is going to be a blue. So now it should transition. Boop. So I'm actually going to take this blue that I made. I'm going to double click that. And it's like, see, if you double click the animation that you did within the timeline, it looks like the same animation system that you did for the frame animation. So we're going to kind of like hold the blue here. Let's like whoop, bump, and there we go. So that should work better. So now when it plays back, it goes whoop. And I could, because I don't have much time left, I'm only going to do the middle frame. So we're only going to do 3 frames of animation. So we got human, well, we're going to do the middle, which I'm going to unpack this. Actually, no, I'm going to, there you go. Duplicate it, unpack. So we got our human one. Now we're going to take this human and we're going to stretch out. We're going to use the extrude tool to grab this, and we're going to pull that out. Actually, I need to expand the workspace with R. That way I don't make any weird mess ups. There we go. So we get in there. Oops. Extrude tool. And now you can grab this face here and pull it out like this. Oh, I have to hit enter. I have to hit enter. Pull that out. Like this. Okay. In a few minutes, while I'm modeling, I'm gonna actually be answering some questions, Q&A style. So I have a list of questions I'll be answering. Okay, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna stretch that out. We're going to squish the forehead and actually stretch out the face for an instance. Same with the eyes. I'm gonna do it from the eyes. Without the hair there, we're gonna go like this. It's gonna look weird, and you'll understand why. It's gonna stretch it like this, and we're going to smear front like that. Not too much. It should, just so you understand what I'm trying to do here, basically. In between frames should be exaggerated. Especially if you're gonna have as few as I have here, they need to be exaggerated so that it's very expressive, and so like it doesn't need to make sense. Smear frames are like the cheating technique for animation. You make something smear to make it look like it's moving, and in this case, we're gonna make it look like the character is kind of being like smushed and changed into a wolf in an instant. We don't have time to do like a proper like puff of fur, but I will add some. So, because it would be unfair to just make the stretching of the human face, and we want to add some transformation to the skin. So we're going to do this. I'm going to then take the extrude tool and stretch that out like that. So it looks like he's kind of transforming a little bit. His eyes, I'm going to actually have them, actually that's fine. I think like because he's stretching like this, his mouth is going to start appearing like this, like that, and we're going to have the fur kind of spotty, just like start appearing here and there on his face, like that. So it's not going to be the most obvious, but it should be good. This should. It's a test. We're going to see if this actually works. It should though. So this should also expand just by a bit. Well, actually, no, it should be also very big. This for that, and then the darker one like this for this part here. I'm going to shrink that. Let's combine this into their own one object. I'm going to call this middle. So we're going to have human, middle, wolf. And that's how we're going to know how we're going to be transforming that. So now, while I finish this up, I'm going to start answering some questions. Can you explain what voxel art is? Voxel art is like pixel art, where you have dots. It's like pixel art, but in 3D. So instead of it just being like traditional 3D modeling, you're going to, I can actually stretch this in. Sorry, it's actually harder than I thought to answer the questions while I'm modeling. And actually, yeah, we're going to stretch the hair up. Yeah, that's it. Really, voxel art it's like pixel art in 3D. That's the simplest way I can explain it. There we go, like that. I can rename that because I broke the compound. Middle. Okay, so now we need to bring all of that into the same space. Again. All right, perfect. And let's export this. Human. Yes. Perfect. Okay, so now it's even messier, which is fine because we can work with this. So we're gonna select a human. We're gonna go into our animation tool and we're going to start playing with it further. Oh, come on, please. Let me close that tab. Oh, wrong one. Oh, geez, why aren't you working all of a sudden? Well, I have to do it through here instead. No, the animator actually came out on my other monitor. How convenient. Okay, perfect. So we got the That's the moon. Oh, this is wolf transform. Okay, good. So we're gonna add. Oh, it's not letting me. No, everything's broken all of a sudden. Just delete this. I'll delete this, and we're gonna add it in this way. We're gonna have to animate it. There we go. Thank you. I don't have time. Okay. Yes, I'm replacing it. Sorry. Yes. Why won't you let me replace? Fine. I'm just gonna call you Wolf. Ready. I just broke things. I don't know what I broke, but I broke things. Oh, it's up to some timeline. That's why. Oh god. I'm not trying to create a timeline. I'm trying to create an animation. God. Oh, the worst thing that can happen. Delete this. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna try to fix my problem right now. One sec. No, I don't want to create a timeline. Let's open up another window. No, not the animator. Animation. Thank you. There it is. Found you. All right. Create. Wolf. Okay. Whew. All right. Saved it. All right. Basically, it ends at 55. And at 20 is when it transforms. So we're going to do the full transformation is going to be at 20. So the first one is going to be the human. And then it's going to turn into the wolf. About halfway, when the moon is partly up, this is when it's going to start transforming. And the human should be gone. Is that right? Okay, it is. And we're going to squeeze this. So, and then transform. Okay, so it's going to have to be quick. Oof, I'm gonna have to be really dirty with this animation. Yeah, stretch out like this, and then stretch out like this. And then in. I'm kind of making up for the frame animation part. There we go, like this, and then in, and this is gonna be back to normal. Like that. Whoop. It's a little silly. But that should work. There we go. So we got our timeline. We're gonna add the human animation track. Where is that? Let's go werewolf. Where's the animation? There it is. Perfect. I'm gonna stretch that out. Speed, half speed. Okay, so the moon needs to be faster for sure. Yeah, the moon, I don't want to time the moon the same as the wolf. And this is where the animation stuff is really handy. There you go. With the moon, we can actually speed this up just by grabbing the frames and bringing them in like this. So it's going to move much faster, like that. Whoop. Okay. So that way now, when you see it play back in the timeline, the moon would just go whoop. Perfect. Okay, so there we go. So that would be the animation. I could go further, but I need to do the Q&A now. So, oh god, it's going obscenely fast. But this is how I would record it, essentially. I would just play this back and see how it goes. Let's just put this here so we can give more space to the view, the scene. And that's how you would do like that. That's like the quickest way I can explain and teach frame-based animation. You use a dope sheet to kind of do all that cutting, and you get yourself this transformation. Boop. And yeah, so I'm gonna move to Q&A now. So for Q&A, the questions are, aside from the what can you explain voxel, the next one I had was, what are good strategies for dealing with eyes and facial features in human voxel characters? It seems like one of the areas where low resolution is often challenging. Curious what you think. Yeah, so for facial animation stuff, one of the big things is you don't have to do eyes. You actually get more expression with eyebrows than you do with eyes. So if you do want to do expressive animations on a human character at a low resolution, don't do eyes. Just focus on like the beard, the jaw. If it's a man, like the beard. If it's a woman, you don't need a beard. You can have a mouth. Mouth and eyebrows. That will get you a lot more than you think. And you can just tint. If you tint where cheeks would be, people are smart enough to kind of grasp, oh, the eyes would be between the eyebrows and the cheeks again. And you can be very expressive that way. The style you're going to go for in doing that is a little different than what you might expect, but the results are pretty good. I've done a few projects like that recently. There's a game coming out soon that I did the character on who has no eyes. It's just eyebrows, and he has no beard either. It's just eyebrows and hair. But I did give him like a tint on his jaw so you can identify that spacing. Do you think Minecraft is a good way to make voxels? I think it's an excellent introduction. If you've made something in Minecraft, you already understand the basic idea of what it is to do voxel art, to place blocks and to create a shape like that. When you build your house, you place those blocks to make the doors, the windows, the roof. That's the steps of voxel art. It's all about the blocks and how you place them. Less so the textures of the blocks in Minecraft. That's something else entirely. But it's like an introduction to Minecraft. So I would say, yeah, an introduction to voxels. So yeah, I would say it's a good way to make voxels. I wouldn't say it's a good way to produce them like for professional work, because there's no good rendering in a Minecraft, and you can't really animate in it. So I'd say it's a good intro, but I wouldn't say it's the best place to be doing like client work if you want to do work for people, or even for if you want to make stuff for yourself. You usually do that in Blender and other things. Like a lot of animation people for Minecraft do it outside of Minecraft, but they like have their initial setup in Minecraft. Axel good thing. What voxel software is better for beginners? So I use Cubicle. It's a paid software, but I recommend Magical Voxel if you want to just start and try. Magical Voxel is a free tool on desktop. On iPad, you have Voxel Max, and on Android, you have Party Cubes and Voxel. So I'll try to answer that in the chat, but yeah, Voxel Max for iPad and iOS. Party Cubes, so PARTI cubes, that is going to be on Android. And then you have Magical Voxel, which is the free PC version. It's really easy and intuitive to get into it. I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. And they also have the Magical Voxel person has old versions of Magical Voxel on there that has a frame animation tool, which is also a good way to practice frame animation. Which other voxel artists do you like? Oh man, there is a recently there's like the one that I keep getting reminded of is his name is Hardbone01. He's on Instagram and he's on Twitter. I love the work he does. He's a Japanese artist. A lot of Japanese artists I'm very fond of. I like their work a lot. There's also Knos, Knos. He does like high resolution, very realistic kind of styled voxel stuff. So very different from what I do. And there's also Mad Maraka. She does environment work and she specializes in isometric environment work, and her stuff is a lot of fun to see. Like she does massive pieces of environments, and it's always worth checking her stuff out. And let's see. And what other before last question, what are your favorite games? Oh, Fez is my favorite, by far my favorite. Yeah, I played it. I 100%ed it like 3 times. It's crazy. It's a really good game. And another game, I have a list here. Let me just pull up Steam so I can see this. I have, oh yeah, I love Below, and recently a Monsters Expedition is a puzzle game that just came out. I love it. It's so good. It's like 10 hours long and it's just solid. It's a nice little puzzle game. You can play it on mobile too, and it's like 5-minute puzzles, so it's super quick and easy, and it's always satisfying. Caleb Adam Art. Hello, how long have you been an animator? I've been an animator for a year less than I've been a voxel artist. I've been doing voxel art for 8 years, and I've been an animator for 7. I've taught myself, and it's a long road when you're teaching yourself, but it's fun. There's a lot of resources online to learn that kind of stuff. So, and I also have a course that I'm releasing with Domestika soon, that I'll be teaching everything that I taught today in more detail, slower, and with better documentation, so you can go through it all yourself and do exactly what I do. And how do you like Cinema 4D compared to this program? For Cinema 4D has excellent rendering. I haven't used it for animating and modeling. I did a little bit in university for my degree in urban planning, but like I haven't played with it much. I would say you could do pretty much the same though. Everything I've been doing here, you could probably set up and do the same in Cinema 4D. Unity is my way of doing things because I make video games for a living, and this is how I do some of my like frame animation in my own video game. So because that's the only way I need to do it. I can't do it in Maya. I can't do it in Cinema 4D because it doesn't export that stuff properly. But I could do it directly in the game engine, which is nice. And yeah, so those are all the questions. I hope I answered all your questions well. I have a course coming out soon. Domestika will be marketing that soon, but yeah, I'll be better teaching what I showed you guys here today. Sorry I couldn't be like super concise and make something like a lot more complex, but I do something a lot more complex on the course. I highly recommend you take it if you want to do any voxel art. I document so much that I think a beginner can take it. And yeah, that's it. So thanks for being here and have a nice day.
La idea es como algo muy frágil.
Se me fue la hebra.
I'm going to show you some examples. This is what we've got behind me.
¿Qué más preguntas tengo por aquí? ¿Cómo descubriste que lo tuyo